Well, I have given up on the Trudeau government handling the Saudi diplomatic situation properly. A lot of you warned me in the comments that he wouldn't handle it at all, and you were right. I was really hoping for a miracle. Oh, speaking of comments, I'm gonna do a video with all the hateful ones, so stay tuned for that. It should be quite entertaining. The question that's been haunting me is why anyone from the Trudeau government would single out Saudi Arabia for human rights violation and make demands on how they need to treat their own citizens. And there's such bigger targets in the human rights violations department, like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Venezuela, Cuba, Iran. Oh, I made a video about Iran, actually, the teenage girl who was jailed in Iran for her Instagram videos of her dancing in her bedroom. I recommend you check it out if you haven't already. I'm gonna link it below in the description. And my goal when making that video was not to demand that Iran release her, but to show what Sharia is and to ensure that we stop it from coming to Canada. But there was no word from Trudeau or his government on that case. We also watched recently as the UK government, alongside the police, social services, the media, they all worked together to cover up the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. And because they covered it up, it allowed the rape gangs to continue raping British girls for even longer than they did. And then the UK government wrongfully convicted Tommy Robinson for simply reporting on those rape gangs and put him in jail for 2 months, where he was tortured daily and he was starved. Not a word from Trudeau's government either. And this is the UK. I mean, it's UK and Canada. We're part of the same Commonwealth. We're supposed to be held to high standards, and this whole situation should never have happened in the UK to start with. But the Canadian government should have called out this atrocity. So anyways, back to the Saudi Arabia. Why Saudi Arabia? I think the answer is as simple as Canada messed up. Chrystia Freeland, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister, and the entire Liberal cabinet is so used to virtue signaling and getting applauded for it that they don't even think about what they're virtue signaling for. She forgot that the freedoms we have in Canada are a rarity when you look at the global standards, and this is why so many immigrants are trying to come here to Canada. It's because of our freedoms. She went ahead and virtue signaled on Saudi Arabia without understanding the ramifications. The Saudis are following the Sharia, which is Islamic law. To them, the Islamic law comes from Allah, and it is better than any man-made law. The Saudis, they consider Canadian law as man-made law, therefore inferior to their Sharia. With her tweet, she basically told the Saudis, ignore your own divine law and apply the man-made Western laws. All of that for two people who are not even Canadian citizens. So it's really easy to see why the Saudis are furious. Now, at the same time that Chrystia Freeland is telling the Saudis to ditch their Sharia and use her laws, the Trudeau government is working to bring Sharia law to Canada, starting with blasphemy laws known as M-103. So while the government criticizes Islam in an Islamic kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's creating laws in Canada to prevent Canadians from criticizing Islam. How messed up is that? Under Sharia, you cannot criticize or question anything in Islam. You just need to submit, and submit to all of it. It's not like you get to pick and choose. So if I criticize wife beating, for example, which is condoned in the Quran, I have criticized Islam. The same goes for child marriage. If I question female genital mutilation, if I criticize wearing the hijab, all these things are mandatory under the Sharia, and criticizing any of those elements is criticizing Islam. So, instead of telling the kingdom to go against Sharia in their country, why don't we focus on preventing the Sharia from coming to Canada? The starting point would be to revoke motion M-103. So anyways, that's it for me today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.